almost there.
Dad, I think we're lost.
We're fine. I've got four-wheel drive.
The road wound through tall summer grass, its edges blurring into fields of golden weeds and sleepy wildflowers. The sun slanted low behind the trees, casting shadows that swayed like long, slow dancers across the car windows. Chihiro sat slouched in the back seat, chin resting on her knees, eyes fixed on the wilted bouquet in her lap. Her flowers had drooped hours ago, petals curling like forgotten promises. "I told you not to clutch them so tight," her mother said gently from the passenger seat. "A little water when we get there, they'll perk right up." But Chihiro didn't answer. She didn't believe the flowers would come back. She didn't believe anything would be the same again. Her father hummed at the wheel, eyes on the winding country road. "This is it," he said. "Almost there. It's going to be a whole new start." Chihiro pressed her forehead to the window. Fields gave way to forest, the trees growing closer and taller until they arched above the road like a tunnel of green. It felt like the world was closing in, sealing her away from the city, her old school, her friends. A sign blurred past. She squinted back at it. The characters were faded, the paint peeling. She didn't catch the name. "Daddy, are you sure this is the right way?" she asked. "Of course," he said confidently. "GPS lost signal a while ago, but I've got a good sense of direction." That didn't make her feel any better. They rounded a bend, and the trees opened suddenly onto a small clearing. A squat stone building stood there, crumbling and half swallowed by ivy. A weathered arch stood beside it, its red paint sun-faded and streaked with moss. Beyond it, a tunnel yawned open, cool and dark like the mouth of some waiting beast. Chihiro sat up straighter. "What is that?" Her father pulled the car to a stop on the gravel shoulder. "Let's find out." Before she could protest, both her parents had unbuckled and stepped out. Her mother shaded her eyes, gazing at the tunnel. "It looks old," she said. "Like a shrine entrance, maybe?" Her father laughed. "Shrine or not, it's begging to be explored." Chihiro scrambled out after them, holding the wilted bouquet like a shield. The wind was strange here. It tugged gently at her dress, her hair, like invisible fingers brushing past. "I don't want to go in," she said. Her father turned around, We're not going far, just a look. Stay here if you like. But if this leads to town ruins or something, that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? I liked my old town, she muttered. Her mother glanced back at her. It'll be an adventure, Chihiro. You used to love those. That was before the move, before goodbye. She looked at the tunnel again. The inside was dim, but she could make out stone walls slick with damp. The air that flowed from it was cool and smelled faintly of earth and something older, like forgotten incense or a memory. Her parents were already halfway inside, their voices echoing faintly. Chihiro took a step forward, then stopped. The wind rustled the trees, and for a moment, it sounded like a whisper. Come. She froze. No one had spoken. Not really. But something deep in the tunnel felt alive. The hair on her arms prickled. The bouquet drooped lower in her hand. She looked back toward the car, toward the empty road they'd come from. The engine ticked quietly in the warmth, the only sign of life. The sky was turning a deeper gold, the shadows stretching. Just wait here, she whispered to herself. They'll come back out. But the tunnel gaped wider, the longer she stared. The wind whispered louder now. It tugged at Chihiro's hair and the hem of her shirt like an invisible hand urging her forward. Her parents had already disappeared into the tunnel, their voices bouncing faintly off the stone. Come on, Chihiro, her father called. It's just a quick look. She stepped onto the grass. It felt damp, like it had just rained, even though the sky above was a calm, hazy blue. Her feet carried her, almost on their own, over mossy bricks and up to the tunnel's mouth. The arch was cracked and crooked, with ivy clinging to its sides like it had been forgotten for years. She hesitated. Then, Chihiro, are you coming or not? She swallowed hard, hugged her bouquet tighter, and stepped into the dark. The tunnel swallowed the light behind her. The air grew cooler, thick with the scent of stone and damp earth. At first, she walked quickly to catch up. Then she ran. When she emerged on the other side, the world had changed. It was quiet. A gentle breeze drifted through open fields. The sky was still that dreamlike blue. But now it hung over an empty town. Tall wooden buildings lined a cobbled street. Their paint faded, but their signs still swinging gently in the air. Somewhere nearby, water trickled softly. Her parents stood ahead, looking around in amazement. What is this place? Chihiro asked, eyes wide. Her father grinned. An abandoned theme park, maybe. They built a bunch in the 90s, but most shut down. It's beautiful, her mother said, walking ahead. We should have brought our lunch. Chihiro didn't move. Something was off. It wasn't just the silence. It was the way the buildings leaned a little too straight. The way the shadows didn't quite match the sun. Then her dad sniffed the air. Smell that? Chihiro sniffed. A warm, savory scent drifted through the breeze. Noodles in broth, grilled meat, something sweet and sticky. Her mother pointed down a narrow alley. There, restaurants. Steam curled lazily from open stalls. Skewers, dumplings, rice, fish, all perfectly cooked and sitting in open trays, like someone had stepped away for just a moment. Hello? Her father called. Anyone here? No answer. Her mom peeked into a stall. I'm sure they'll be back. We can pay them when they return. Chihiro took a step back. I don't think we should be here. Come on, her dad said, already digging in. I've got cash and credit cards. Her mother joined him with a delighted laugh. It's so tender. Chihiro, try this, her dad offered, holding something that shimmered with sauce. No, thank you, she whispered. She backed away, watching her parents eat. They laughed and reached for more. The plates refilled themselves. Time felt strange, like it had stopped ticking. Then something changed. The light shifted. A soft wind blew past her, colder than before. She turned around. Lamps lit one by one across the street, casting golden halos across the stones. Shadows gathered in corners. Shapes began to stir. From around a corner, a figure emerged. A boy with sharp eyes and wind-tousled hair. He looked directly at her. You shouldn't be here, he said urgently. It's almost night. Go back. Now. What? Chihiro asked. But my parents. Leave before it gets dark, he insisted. I'll distract them. Get across the river. She turned to look back at her parents, but they weren't there. In their place stood two enormous pigs, snorting and rooting through the food trays. Their clothes lay torn beside them. No, she whispered. Daddy, Mommy? The pigs looked up and blinked at her. This isn't real. This isn't real, she murmured. She stumbled backwards, turning to run, but the way back had changed. Water rushed through the path, cutting her off. The river was back. I'm dreaming, she told herself. Just a dream. But the chill in the air, the smell of the food, the distant lantern light, it was all too real. She collapsed onto the ground, shaking. "Wake up," she whispered. "Wake up, wake up." From behind her, voices rose. Not human ones. Ghostly ones. The town had come alive, but not with people. Shapes drifted through the air. Spirits, shadows, strange creatures with blank faces and glowing eyes. The boy was back. He reached for her, holding out a small white ball. "Don't be afraid. Eat this." "What is it?" she asked. "If you don't eat something from this world, you'll disappear." "I don't want to. It won't turn you into a pig, I promise." She looked at the offering, then at her trembling hands, and slowly, with a breath that wasn't quite hers, she took it. Chihiro couldn't stop trembling. Her knees wobbled like jelly, and her breath came out in quick, frightened puffs. The world, this strange, too still world, was changing fast. The light was wrong. The breeze was colder. Her parents were pigs. She had to run. She stumbled through the empty town, down winding alleys, past glowing lanterns and doorways that now whispered with movement. Things that hadn't been there before were now watching. Shapes drifted between shadows. The buildings sighed as if they were alive. She reached the riverbank, but where there had once been a path, dry and grassy, now there was water. Wide, deep, flowing water. A river that hadn't existed just minutes ago. She froze. Her hands clenched the front of her shirt. "This can't be real," she said aloud. "This is just a nightmare." But her voice sounded too small, too alone. She turned around and gasped. The world twisted. The sky deepened into indigo. Lamps shimmered like stars too close to the ground. Ghostly figures floated down the street. Some wore masks. Some had no faces at all. All of them shimmered like dream things. "No, no, no," she whispered, backing away. "Wake up. Please, wake up." She sank to her knees, eyes wide with fear. Her fingers curled into the dirt. Then, light footsteps. A flick of wind. "Don't be afraid," said a voice. She looked up. A boy stood in front of her, dressed in white. His dark hair tousled like he'd stepped out of a storybook. His eyes were serious, but not unkind. "I'm a friend," he said, kneeling beside her. Chihiro didn't speak. "You're starting to fade," he said quietly. She blinked, looked down. Her arms, her legs were becoming see-through. The edges of her body rippled like heat on pavement. "No," she cried. "If you don't eat something from this world," he said, holding out a small, round dumpling, "you'll vanish. It won't hurt you. It won't turn you into anything. But it will let this world see you. I don't want to become a pig. You won't." She stared at the dumpling. It smelled faintly of rice and seaweed, of something warm, something real. Tears welled in her eyes. Then she took it. One bite, chew, swallow. Warmth spread through her belly. The shaking stopped. Her hands reappeared. She was solid again. "There," the boy said. "You'll be okay for now." Chihiro looked up at him. "Who are you?" He stood and reached out his hand. "I'm Haku." She took it. It felt strong and steady. "I'll help you," he said. "But you have to listen carefully. There are rules in this world." "Rules?" "You must find work. A job. If you don't, the sorceress who runs this place, Yubaba, will turn you into an animal, or worse." Chihiro stared at him. "Work?" she echoed. He nodded. Kamaji runs the boiler room. Ask him first. But even if he says no, you must keep asking. Then go to Yubaba. Ask her for work. Don't stop, no matter what she says. "But I don't know how to do anything." "You're braver than you think." The wind picked up again. In the distance, bells chimed. "There's one more thing," Haku said. He leaned closer. "Don't forget your name." Chihiro blinked. "Why?" "She'll try to take it. If you forget it, you'll forget who you are. And then you'll be trapped here forever." Chihiro swallowed. "I'm Chihiro," she whispered like a promise. "Good," said Haku. "Keep it safe." He turned as a group of frog-like attendants rounded the corner. "No time," he said. "They're looking for you. You'll need to cross the bridge to get to the bathhouse." Chihiro froze. "What if they see me?" "Hold your breath," he said, "until we're across. Even a single breath will break the spell." She took a deep breath. "Now," Haku whispered. "Follow me." They stepped onto the bridge, hand in hand. Chihiro's heart pounded. Her lungs screamed. Spirits passed them, some with arms like wings, others with faces like lanterns. But no one looked at her. She didn't breathe. not until they reached the other side. Then, phew, she gasped, but it was too loud. A frog spirit turned. Its nose twitched. "I smell humans," it croaked. "The stench of humans." Haku turned to her. "Run. Now." Chihiro hesitated. "I'll distract them," he said. "Go out the back gate. Take the stairs all the way down. Find Kamaji. But go. If you want to save your parents, go." She ran. The bathhouse loomed above her like a mountain of steam and gold. Behind her, the world of spirits stirred like a pot about to boil. And ahead, a door, a stairwell, and whatever came next. The stairs seemed to go on forever. Steep, rickety, and carved into the side of the bathhouse like a secret. Only the wind remembered. Chihiro held onto the railing tightly, her fingers trembling. Below, steam curled from mysterious vents. And somewhere far beneath, metal clanged in rhythmic bursts. It smelled like moss, coal, and something ancient. Like the world had boiled for too long and turned into magic. She reached the bottom, heart pounding, and stood before a towering wooden door. There was a small panel beside it, shaped like a sunburst. She raised her hand. It slid open. 100 tiny black shapes scattered like ants in every direction. Soot sprites, round, fuzzy creatures with wide eyes and legs made of nothing but nerve. One dropped a lump of coal and squeaked in alarm. Chihiro stepped inside. "Hello?" A voice echoed from the shadows. "Get to work, you little runts. You want to turn back into soot." She followed the sound through a maze of pipes and gears until she saw him. The man, if you could call him that, had 6 long arms that moved independently, pulling levers, stoking flames, and stirring giant pots. His glasses gleamed, and his mustache twitched with every word. I'm looking for Kamaji," Chihiro said. The figure turned slowly. "I am Kamaji, slave to the boilers that heat the baths." She stepped forward. "Haku sent me. Please, I need work." He didn't even look at her. "I've got all the help I need. These soot balls do just fine." One of the soot sprites dropped its coal again and looked up at Chihiro with twitching eyes. "But I was told I have to work," she insisted, "or I'll be turned into something else." Kamaji grunted returned to turning knobs. Go away. No job for humans here. Chihiro stepped back, her hands curled into fists. Please, please, I'm begging you. Suddenly, a new voice cut through the steam. She's my granddaughter. Chihiro spun around. A tall girl stood in the doorway, her arms crossed, eyebrows raised like they were always in trouble. That's Lynn, Kamaji muttered. She delivers the bath tokens. She wants a job, Kamaji told her. Take her to Yubaba. Lynn stared at Chihiro, then sighed. Fine. Come on, Runt. And can't you even manage a thank you? Chihiro blinked. Oh, thank you very much, sir. Kamaji grumbled. But his mustache twitched like he might be smiling. Lynn dragged Chihiro through a dizzying maze of staircases, sliding doors, and brass elevators that whined with age. The building seemed to breathe around them. Walls that shimmered, lamps that blinked, hallways that rearranged themselves. She lives at the top, Lynn muttered, pointing to a spire that glowed like a furnace. Get ready to beg. As they entered the top floor, the air changed. Heavier, richer, magical. A massive baby bawled in a crib the size of a bedroom. And then, Yubaba. The sorceress stormed into the room with the force of a thundercloud. Her hair stood like a silver crown. Her nose bent like a hawk's beak. Her voice was sharp and dangerous, like broken glass. What is this pathetic creature? She barked. Chihiro tried to stand tall, but her knees knocked together. Please, she whispered. Let me work here. Speak up, Yubaba roared. I want to work. Yubaba loomed over her. You? You're useless. Lazy. Crybaby. Chihiro flinched, but didn't back down. Please, I'll do anything. Yubaba narrowed her eyes. Anything, Even the worst job I've got? Yes. Until you breathe your last breath? Yes. Yubaba smirked. You've got guts. I'll give you that. She conjured a scroll out of thin air. Sign this. Chihiro stepped forward. Where? Right there, Yubaba hissed. She took the brush, signed her name, and felt a ripple through her fingers. Yubaba snatched the scroll. Chihiro-sen. What an extravagant name. I'll take it. The letters shimmered and vanished. You are now Sen, Yubaba said. Sen, Chihiro whispered. No more idle chatter. Yubaba barked. You'll start immediately. Lin, take her. As they left, Haku stood by the door, his expression unreadable. Thank you so much, Chihiro said softly. Remember who you are, he replied. I am Sen, she said. But inside, something ached. She was still Chihiro, wasn't she? Sen stood at the edge of the great bath, a wooden bucket in each hand, and the faint scent of sulfur clinging to her sleeves. Steam floated up from the water like a ghost with no home. Everything here hissed, clattered, and shimmered, but none of it felt familiar. Move faster, Sen, Lin barked, dragging a heavy cloth over the floor. This tub hasn't been scrubbed in years. I'm doing my best, Sen muttered, wiping sweat from her brow. Lin stopped and looked at her. This one's reserved for the filthiest customers. We've got to make it sparkle. So put your back into it, kid. Sen nodded, scrubbing harder. The tiles beneath her hands were slick with grime, but she didn't stop. This wasn't a game. It was survival. First customers on the way, someone shouted from the hallway. Sen blinked. Already? Lin grumbled. Of course. Probably something awful. This tub always gets the worst ones. There was a rumble in the distance. The walls vibrated. Spirits turned to look. Even the frogs in the courtyard froze. What's that smell? Sen asked, wrinkling her nose. Lin's eyes widened. Oh, stink spirit. The words sloshed through the air like mud. Something enormous shuffled into view, heaving and dripping with sludge. Its form barely visible beneath a crust of dirt and debris. A tower of trash and stench and sadness. It made the air thicken. Quick, Lin hissed. Get an herbal soak tag. We'll need it. An herbal what? Tag. Go to the foreman. Sen bolted from the room, dodging soot sprites and flustered frogs. The bathhouse had turned chaotic. Everyone whispered about the guest. Everyone avoided the hall he passed through. She finally found the foreman's window. One deluxe herbal soak, please. He blinked. For who? The stink spirit. He raised an eyebrow. You sure? She nodded. The tag dropped into her palm, warm and glowing faintly green. Back at the bath, the spirit was halfway inside the tub. Sludge sloshed over the edge like soup gone wrong. Everyone backed away, except Sen, who stepped forward, holding the tag like a lantern in the fog. "Welcome," she said, her voice wavering. "Please, relax and enjoy." She slipped the tag into the slot. Pipes hissed. The water turned a deep golden green. The stink spirit groaned. Zen rolled up her sleeves and started scrubbing. Every touch made her gag, but she didn't stop. Grit clung to her arms, and something sharp pricked her fingers. She reached beneath the folds of the spirit side and felt something solid. "A thorn," she whispered. She pulled. It didn't budge. "Lynn," she shouted. "There's something stuck." Within moments, the room filled with workers. They threw ropes around the mysterious shape hidden in the spirit's body. "Pull," Lynn ordered. Sen braced her feet and heaved. Pull. The air filled with a strange gurgling sound. The spirit moaned, and something came loose. Out of the water exploded a twisted metal bicycle, then a pile of trash, more ropes, bottles, wires, an entire riverbank's worth of human junk. The spirit's form began to change, slimming, shining, shedding its cloak of filth. A shimmer passed through the room. Sin stared in wonder. Before her hovered a majestic, dragon-like figure made of water and light. No longer a stink spirit. This was a river spirit, ancient and grateful. He turned to her, and from the air, golden flakes drifted gently into her hands. "Thank you," the spirit whispered, though not with words. Then it rose and vanished into the mist. Silence filled the room. Then, "She did it," someone cried. Sen saved him. Applause broke out. "Gold," a frog shrieked, grabbing at the shimmering flakes in the air. "Gold. It's raining gold." But Sen only stood there, arms shaking, watching the last droplets of light disappear. That night, the bathhouse was alive with celebration. Frogs danced. Lanterns swung joyfully. Sake flowed. Sen sat beside Lynn, her hands still tingling from the spirit's blessing. "You did well," Lynn said, nudging her with an elbow. Sen smiled a little. "I didn't know I could." Lynn raised her cup. "You can." But across the room, something watched her. A quiet, black figure with a white mask. No face. It stood in the shadows, still and silent.